Hello, beautiful Taurus clan, and welcome to our June 2020 discussion. This is a June. Let me tell you, this is a really powerful month, and this is one of my favorite times of year because of this summer solstice energy. It is so beautiful, so magical, gets us so close to kind of the unknowability of the world and the magic of it at the same time. So I just really love the summer solstice. But that is paired with the fact that this month we have two eclipses. We have Venus doing her second half of her Venus retrograde in Gemini. We have our Mercury retrograde beginning in Cancer, and a whole bunch of deep dialogue going on in the sky throughout the month. So this is just a powerful time of transformation, of change, of shift, of growth, and really being honest with how much we have changed in the last 6 months from the last solstice. And on top of that, closing out an entire long phase where we were having eclipses in Cancer. This is going to be our last eclipse in Cancer right after the solstice. So this is just a month of huge waves of modulating energy, a lot of release, a lot of lightening up. And that's the thing. You know, in astrology, often eclipses are kind of considered malefic, and we have a lot of malefic planets that you can talk about because it's about a blotting out. But I often find that eclipses lighten our load, show us the truth, and help us to release. So I actually think this is a beautiful time to open up, to be perceptive and receptive to the next chapter. In fact, the message that came through for Taurus for June, I just love. The first word that came to mind was the word simple. And I think, simple has gone through culturally a lot of different modulations as far as what that means. It's kind of was used as a slur for many centuries. But this idea of simplicity being not to be creased or folded, but to be in unity, to be in wholeness. You think about something like simple syrup used in cooking. It often means something that is condensed down to its most pure whole form. It's like something that's been condensed down to something very pure. And I think simplicity is huge here. Rather than trying to muck it up with a whole bunch of different lenses, there is a calling here for the simplicity for you. Now let's just kind of go through. Oh, and then this is the other thing that came through for me before we get to the planets. Blessed are those who abide in the beginning. And that's something from Gospel of Thomas, which is one of the Gnostic Gospels. It's a great, very soothing gospel. But blessed are those who abide in the beginning. I feel like the simplicity and abiding in the beginning are such huge parts of your journey this month, which I love that is what I am feeling for you. This is just a month to be. Who are you when you aren't holding yourself at attention, when you aren't holding yourself up to whatever standards you had back in December, January? Where are you now? We have the first big eclipse is this full moon in Sagittarius. Now, this is a partial lunar eclipse, not really super visible, but it's happening in your 8th house, in your house of transformation. So you know that this is going to be one where you walk through the underside and come back out. Now, I love this kind of transit because it's very freeing and healing and relaxing. We also have the sun. We also have Mercury retrograde beginning. It's retrograde in Cancer, and as the month progresses, we're going to be doing a lot more work with energy in Cancer. And Cancer for you is about your throat chakra. It's about your voice, your short-term planning, how you want to connect and interact in the short term, in the here and now. And I think there's so much liberation going on there with that. With Mercury RX, it's making you think about where you want to share, where you want to open up your throat chakra, and where you don't. And then the sun moves into Cancer on the solstice on the 20th, and then we have the new moon in Cancer and the solar eclipse, which will be visible from parts of Asia and Africa. And all of that energy in Cancer is really good for you. It kind of fertilizes your life. And so I love when this energy moves from Gemini into Cancer. Now keep in mind that we still have Venus retrograde in Gemini, your next door neighbor. This has a lot to do with how you relate to abundance and how much you let yourself enjoy the simplicity in life, right? And so generally speaking, I would say the energy is quite supportive of you. However, just be aware that Nine of Wands, oh, the world-weary warrior. Just be aware that, this month, we are setting up the table. We are opening the door. We are getting all the pieces in play, but you want to keep it simple. The other thing to keep in mind is we have Mars moving into Aries. Let's see, when is that happening? Oh, near the end of the month on June 28th. And as Mars moves into Aries, we're moving into your spiritual house here with Mars. So Mars gets things done, wants to take action, the action taker in the world, but in the 12th house, this is where you're going to be finding a lot of oomph, is in the unseen, is in the hidden. And the rest of this year, you may be finding there are huge waves of energy in the hidden and unseen for you. So keep that in mind in the background of all of this. So I'm going to be pulling 4 cards for us today. 3 of Swords. Okay, we're getting real with it, Taurus. We're getting real with it. It goes back to this simple message that came through for me. So keep that in mind. 2 of Swords. Okay. I will admit that this month is full of mystery. It's full of the unknowing. That addiction to knowing, we were taught very young in school to find out and know things. Just know them, memorize them, and that's it. The logic of June is that don't be so certain you know exactly who you're supposed to be. You know what best elements are going to come for you, because we often really don't. How could we fathom the whole complexity of the world? And the Fool. Okay. So this is a month of unknowing. It's a month of remembering too, remembering who we are, remembering. Unlike, it's the opposite of dismemberment, right? When we dismember, when we disengage from ourselves, this is a month of remembering, of re-coming together. And like I said, that message of those who abide in the beginning, blessed are those who abide in the beginning. And I love that you got the Fool for that, because yes, I'll admit, these first 3 cards are complex. And eclipses do tend to, as well as, Venus retrograde and even Mercury retrograde, these all tend to have us look internal, right? They have us sit with ourselves, which is, the number one practice. We've got to be able to sit with ourselves and witness kind compassion. Compassion that does not include you is incomplete, as Jack Kornfield says, and these 3 are talking about that. This is a closeout of a karmic cycle as well, with this last eclipse in Cancer. And when that happens, we have the summer solstice, the eclipse in Cancer, and then Venus going direct, all within about 5 days of each other. And just think about what happens when we close something out. We sit with all the lessons we have learned. We sit with the part of ourselves that feels like it has to be in constant high gear and be in charge and look out for trouble. We sit with the part of ourselves that does not feel that things can be simple, that they have to be done the hard way, that they have to be done the painful way, that we have to keep reinserting ourselves into scenarios that hurt and then put our armor on, survive, right? It has us sit with all of that in compassion. And it also invites us, if we're willing to go there, if we're willing to go and sit with the deep, dark wood, like the beginning of Dante's Divine Comedy, he talks about in the middle of his life entering a dark wood. And it doesn't have to be the middle of your life. We can do this work anytime. You enter the dark wood, you find that yes, there is an unknowing, there is an unlearning that happens. That unlearning, what is it really? It's unlearning this idea that we have to hurt ourselves over and over and over again, to give ourselves to self-sacrifice in that way that is so painful over and over again. And that we can give of ourselves, but not in that sacrificial, painful way. And the 2 of Swords is having us sit in the mystery. So something that maybe you felt certain of the first half of this year, this is my path. This is how I'm going to get things done. It may feel as though it's fading away this month. And initially, maybe you will feel a little bit like you're being pulled, something's being pulled from you and you don't like it. And then you're like, what am I supposed to do now? And this can even show up, it doesn't always show up from external sources. This can be your body revolting against something and giving you a lot of information about that not working for you. This can be something that just clicks in your own mind by sitting still in meditation or journaling that you can't unsee. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. And that's where Two of Swords is important, to listen and pay attention. Don't try and run from yourself at this time, because there's an important dialogue going on here. There's something really important happening with this Fool energy, truly, because this guy right here is the beginning. It's the beginning. And I feel like he is such a perfect representation of the end of this month, because if you are willing to sit at the table of these eclipses, and you are willing to sit at the table of the last half of Venus retrograde, and you are willing to show up time and again, you are rewarded with a lightness and an understanding and a new path opening up before you. But that's the deal, kind of. You got to be willing to sit in. And the other thing, simplicity is so tied to the Fool. I think of all the cards, this is the one that understands that thing that I was saying at the beginning of our discussion today. Simplicity, not being creased or folded or pretzeled around something in order to fit it, in order to make sense of it. Simplicity doesn't seek any of those complex explanations for why we need to keep doing something. Simplicity just simply follows its own inner guidance system. And the Fool is speaking to this. Your answer, the thing you are looking for, the path you are longing for, is simple, and it's right in front of you. What is it? This month is going to help you see this. Rather than looking at all the places that aren't obvious and looking around and scavenger hunting, the Fool just says, wait a second, it's right here. It's right here. It's been here this whole time. Are you ready? Let's do it. And it's through witnessing these parts of yourself that have been in pain, that have felt that they've had to plug into pain, that we actually give ourselves the opportunity to live life fully. Life is always going to involve hard days and days where we, cry or feel frustrated or overwhelmed, and where we get surprised. That's just guaranteed. That's a part of this life. And once we let go of this expectation that in order for us to be fulfilled or on the path that's right for us, we have to constantly have no days with no emotion or no feeling. Once we let go of that, we are free to actually embody where we're meant to be in life. And I think that's one of the most liberating things that we can ever come into contact with in our lives. Now, I have a toast for you all for this solstice, for this new moon eclipse that we are, new moon solar eclipse that we are going to be having right around the solstice. And these are the blessings I send to you, my Taurus family. May the beginning feel full of light. May you feel free to sing and laugh and play and explore. May you be guided with ease. May you feel the thrill of learning new skills and changing shape. May it all be full of fun. Cheers to you. I do hope this month is full of fun and exploration into these nooks and crannies. I actually think it can be really fun to sit with ourselves in this. Call me crazy, but I think it's really fun. As long as you don't spend too long down there, it can be so fun to just give yourself the chance to do that. I also want to invite you to join me on Patreon. I want to thank those of you who have joined me. You have helped me so much. You're helping me continue to create these resources here that are available to everyone, and it's also such an amazing community. So thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. It means so much to me. You have no idea how much it means to me, and I would love to see you over there. We're going to be diving deep on on these two eclipses, on the Venus retrograde. We're in the middle of doing our work over there now, and on the Mercury retrograde. So if you're looking for support and connection during this powerful month of June and moving forward, it's a great place to land. I would love to see you over there. So I'll leave my link below, as well as you can find me on Instagram at SarahVerba and on my website, SARAHTAROT.com. I will leave Etsy, PinkLune's beautiful Etsy shop below. I wear her jewelry every day and it's beautiful. So go check out her work as well. I'm sending you so much love, and I will see you very soon for the next Moon Magic and for all the adventure ahead.